Here's something I've never said on this channel before. The techniques that really changed my baking, the ones that made me understand what I was doing and feel confident and comfortable in the kitchen no matter what happened, I didn't learn those on YouTube. I didn't learn them with cookbooks or the 300 I own. I learned them by paying a lot of money to go to culinary school, twice. And by working years in professional kitchens, making mistakes that nobody filmed, thank God. And for a long time, I've been trying to figure out how to give you that same experience without having to go into debt for it. And I think I figured it out. I want to tell you exactly how I got here because I think it's important for what I'm about to show you. I went to culinary school. I trained under chefs that were simultaneously inspiring and also intimidating. And what I learned in those kitchens wasn't just technique. It was the why behind the technique. Why laminated doughs need to rest. Why sugar behaves differently at different humidities and temperatures. And what happens if you ignore those facts? And it's the invisible logic that is underneath everything. That knowledge changed completely how I baked and cooked. I realized at some point that not everybody gets access to that. Not because they're not serious enough or talented enough or passionate enough, but just because professional culinary training is expensive. It's not designed for people with full-time jobs and families and real lives. And I have all of those things too, so I totally get it. And it wasn't just one moment. I want to be honest about that. It's more an accumulation of things. For example, there's one post on my blogs, Italian meringue buttercream, that has over 300 comments. And what I see as I scroll through them is a pattern that I see repeated across both of the blogs. One person writes that her buttercream turns to soup no matter what recipe she tries. Someone else panics because her meringue deflated the moment she poured the syrup in, and she doesn't realize that it's totally supposed to happen. And a woman in the Philippines tells me that she's completely given up on Italian meringue buttercream because of humidity. And I get it, but she doesn't have to. And I answer every single one of those comments in a comment section that's almost nobody will ever scroll through. And I started to realize that the blog was doing something it was never built to do. People weren't just following recipes. They were asking me to teach them why the butter broke, what they could have done differently, how to adapt this for a different pan. And the answers I was giving were real instruction, buried in threads where they would never find each other, not to mention the answer that they were looking for. The comment section was already a classroom. It just wasn't set up to work like one. And the people showing up in there were already a community. They were helping each other, reporting back, building on what they'd learned. And that was just not the place designed to do that. So I built one. If you want serious pastry training right now, your options are pretty much culinary school, which costs tens of thousands of dollars and requires you to completely rearrange your life, or you can piece it together from free content and paid content online, which takes years and still leaves holes. There's almost nothing in the middle. Guided, professional level instruction with someone who will actually answer your questions real time, at a price that doesn't require you to sell your car. And I've been on this channel long enough to know that there are a lot of serious bakers out there. You're not looking for just a pretty cake to make on a Saturday afternoon, though we make those too. You want to understand what you're doing. You want to improve. You ask me comments about technique, about the science, about what to do when things go totally wrong. You are the people who watch to the end of my YouTube video to see what happened with my bake. You are my people. And I've been giving you like 30% of what I actually know on this channel because YouTube wasn't really built for the kind of teaching that I want to do. You get 8 to 12 minutes. Half of them need to be entertaining enough that people don't click away. And that's always bothered me a lot more than I let on. All those clips that get left on the cutting room floor, that is the good stuff. That is where the learning happens. So I built something to close that gap. I am launching Kitchen Confidence Live, which is a 13-month pastry program, a real culinary school experience built around live instruction by me with a community of people who take it as seriously as you do. And here's what that means in practice. The live kitchen. It's not just me talking into a camera and posting it. It's me in the kitchen, teaching in a real time, twice a month, where you can actually ask questions and I can actually show you what to do when something goes wrong. Plus, there's the weekly recipe rescue sessions and open kitchen, which are Ask Anything live events, because things go wrong in the professional kitchen too. And knowing how to diagnose and rebound and fix it is half of the skill. And then there's the curriculum, which is 13 months of structured pastry education with a textbook to match, technique guides, all the nerdy details, reference materials, the kind of depth I don't have time to get into on YouTube. And then there's the baker's toolkit, which is printable recipe cards, prep lists, troubleshooting guides, substitution charts, everything you need to actually bake along and learn from the mistakes in an easily accessible format that you can revisit. And then there's the mixing bowl, which is the community inside all of this. A place to ask questions, report back, share what you're learning. And think of it as this: ask a chef and not a comment thread. It's a direct line to me and Mara, who's my co-lead. She was my sous chef. We co-founded a bakery together. She's one of the best bakers I've ever worked with. Basically, she's my ride or die. Everyone gets the same access. There are no tiers, no upgrades. If you're in, you're in. The full program, the full community, all of it. I built this because I believe that serious baking instruction should be accessible to people who are serious about it, not just people who can afford a culinary degree. If this sounds like something you've been waiting for, I'd love to have you. The link is in the description. There's a founding member rate for the people who join in the first 2 weeks. It's 13 monthly installments of $175 or a flat $1,650 if you want. I'd rather just save $625 up front. And that price stays locked in as long as you're enrolled. And after the founding member window closes, then the pricing is going to go up. And if you join during that window, then you're invited to something I'm really excited about, which is the founding members party. It's live. It's not recorded. Just me and Mara and the people who showed up first, hanging out in the kitchen before the curriculum even starts, maybe with wine. The room will never be this small again. I have put everything into building this right. I've spent months on it and I am excited about it, which if you watch this channel for any amount of time, you know I don't say lightly. Come bake with me. Learn with me the real way.